With the third pick in the 2003 NBA Draft, the Denver Nuggets select
Carmelo Anthony!
We are watching a legend.
I'm just excited. I bring a lot to the court. Basketball is a game of fun. If you ain't having fun, then ain't no need for you to be playing.
Carmelo Anthony had the complete game as a rookie.
Carmelo Anthony with that half smile going like, hey, I'm just getting warmed up.
Anthony drives underneath.
Oh my goodness!
Carmelo Anthony putting on a show.
Oh, a sensational move by Carmelo Anthony.
Carmelo Anthony! A little vintage Melo!
This guy, folks, is a scorer's scorer.
Pure score.
The game is easy when the ball is in the hands of Melo.
Carmelo had a rough upbringing. He grew up in a high-crime neighborhood in Baltimore, Maryland, losing his father to liver failure at the age of 2. His mother worked as a housekeeper, along with many more jobs to support her children, keep them safe, and focused on school. Carmelo struggled to keep up with his grades in school, so playing basketball competitively wasn't an option for most of high school. His mother wouldn't let him play until he brought his grades up, but during the summer of '01, he played many tournaments, putting up very good numbers. He played with LeBron James and became good friends with him that summer. Carmelo continued to perform very well, gaining popularity by the year. Melo played one season at Syracuse University, leading them to their first ever NCAA title. The head coach of the university says, by far the best player in college basketball. Carmelo was later taken as a third pick in the '03 NBA draft. Similar to brother, Michael and Francis's mom was in a rough situation. The mothers both worked multiple jobs without a father figure present. Both moms tried very hard to keep their kids in school, and both Carmelo and the brothers Michael and Francis grew up in dangerous neighborhoods. From long nights in Red Hook to washing cars on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in Baltimore, Carmelo never ran away from the trauma that followed him from city to city. In his book, Where Tomorrows Aren't Promised, a memoir of survival and hope, he talks about his life. Like so many other families, Carmelo grew up surrounded by poverty and drugs during the 80s and 90s, but he says he didn't dwell on it. He maintained a strong personality and didn't let anyone see him cry, because that's what he had to do to survive. He didn't understand it then, as a young boy can't always understand his feelings, but he was depressed. He saw family members die, tried not to get in the way of the dangerous people near him, and finally got his one-way ticket out of the city. He also explains that sports can't save everyone like they did for him. There are thousands of people left behind in places I escaped from, and where tomorrows aren't promised, Melo digs deep into his childhood and the stories that the average fan doesn't know. He says he chose to focus on this part of his life to give a transparent account of what he went through, so others going through the same thing know they aren't alone. Carmelo isn't only defined by his skill as a basketball player. He's done many things for his community and shows how much he cares for others. He created the Carmelo Anthony Foundation in 2005 as a means by which he and his family would give back to the community through a variety of outreach programs and donations. Carmelo being drafted was definitely his defining moment, because as soon as you have one of the biggest stages in the world watching you, what you say and what you do is always watched, and Carmelo has taken complete control over the opportunities to talk about his life that are presented to him. You write that hoopers and hustlers were all around you growing up. Why did you focus on telling the story of your early life and the pain that was around you, rather than your NBA career? I honestly wanted to tell the story the way I did, because that's the only way I know how to speak. I know how to speak real, authentic. I can only speak on things that I've been through. I can only speak on my experiences, what I've done, and hopefully my story can move people forward and realize that, damn, I'm not the only one who goes through this. Everybody goes through this. If I went through that, then it's no different than what someone else is going through. It took all of that, all my childhood, all I've been through to put me in a position now to be able to speak on that story in that time. Carmelo had many significant achievements throughout his career. He won his NCAA tournament as the league's best player. He is a 10-time All-Star and an All-NBA team member 6 times. He was recognized in the NBA's 75th anniversary team with the best players ever to be in the league. Carmelo is a 3-time Olympian and a 3-time gold medalist. He has hosted camps and has his own gym in Syracuse, where he played at university. The gym is a practice facility for the students and teams as a symbol to recognize his efforts for their university. Carmelo has worked in many charities to help the people of the community. He's appeared in almost 30 movies and has written 2 books. Carmelo's legacy will be honored as the next generation of basketball players arise. He continues to help people in need, and his community is grateful for his efforts. In the Trayvon Martin story, we saw Carmelo, along with other NBA players, share their opinion on the Black Lives Matter movement. Carmelo said, "We cannot ignore the realities of the current state of America. The events of the past week have put a spotlight on the injustice, distrust, and anger that plagues so many of us. The system is broken, but the problems are not new. The violence is not new, and the racial divide definitely is not new, but the urgency for change is at an all-time high. It was important that they supported the community through the hard times that were faced, because then people would know they aren't alone, and there are people that care about the same things they do."